Good morning. Good morning. I tell you, these hot ass lights melted my junior mints. Can you believe this shit? Can you believe it? Hey. Holla. All right, view. Want to view it?
Scoot back the camera because
I'm so upset. These hot ass lights melted my junior mints.
they melted your junior mints?
Melted my junior mints, man. Hot ass lights. All right, we're back. This live is going great so far. You damn right, Congolese YouTubers. Yeah, that's right. We're
back.
Yeah, we're as cool as Muyisa Michelline.
I finished it, yo. I finished it.
Where did you get the Congolese from?
The fridge.
Hey, you asked a lot of questions, Luco. All right.
Listen, I'm curious. I came up here and have a beverage, so I'm a little parched.
Let me tell you something about Luco. Luco stays hydrated. Loves to hydrate. But okay, look. Let's stay focused. Hey, Yamandela, what's popping? So look, we'll do what's the next one? Oh, how long you should court. I didn't answer that question.
Answer it.
All right. I think you should court and date. No, you should date because courting is the intention of marrying, right? So I don't even want to date. Like, honestly, I'm not dating. Like, no, court, right? Courting, right? So either me, Rihanna.
Swaggy P. What's his real name?
Oh, Nick Young.
Nick Young and his whole situation. Because, now he and his baby moms are getting married, finally. Mm-hmm. But they've been dating since, on and off since they were basically in high school. So I guess it can happen. You can date somebody for 20 years. Yeah,
but, first of all, he's promiscuous and childlike in his behavior, right? So, and plus he's allowed culturally to, excuse my language, he can fuck a bunch of different girls and that girl will wait for him. It's socially accepted here. Right? You know what I'm saying? Because, he's an NBA player. Women throw themselves. Look, Muisa's face. Muisa is about to throw up the thong of Muisa. She was like, Yeah. But, and it's not a knock. You let people do what you want to you. You know what I mean? You let people do, if you're cool with it, you're all right. You know what I'm saying? Because
you tolerate what you're accepting of.
Well said. Yes. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think, I don't know. It shouldn't take that long to know. I think, to answer your question, Luco, I just probably knew subconsciously this wasn't gonna work, because I think when I look back at it, I just think there was times and moments where I would subconsciously look at other girls. Mm. You know what I'm saying? And because I don't cheat, I don't have to do that. It's much funnier to tell a girl you don't want to be with her and break up with her than cheat on her, because that's rude, right? But
okay, I have a question though about the other girls, right?
Uh-huh.
With the other girls that you were looking at or subconsciously finding yourself looking at, were they lacking what you thought she needed, right? Did they have what you thought she was lacking?
No, because people are made the way they're made. Those other girls just had what I needed. You say?
Okay. It was the problem with my question. I get what you did there.
Yeah, I think I know what you were saying. I know what you were. No, I think I know what you were saying, but that was it. I was yo, I need that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think like I said earlier, relationships aren't hard, man. Very simple. Yo, can you have a good conversation? Are you smart? Do you have some type of ambition? Are you caring? Are you nurturing? Are you just an overall decent human? If she's not going to be Congolese, will you accept the culture? Because I'm gonna eat my this too. I'm gonna eat me God. This is who I am. I will die for this.
What if she can't cook it?
You know what I'm saying? This is who I am. I'm gonna wear, I have a flag behind me. If we see the World Cup and you see me with the flag, you cannot be embarrassed.
Are you gonna be that tonton with the sandals? The leather sandals that have the cutouts, wearing a boo-boo?
Come on, Muyisa. You know it. You know it.
You did say something that I think a lot of people tend to not realize. Like, you can be a good person, and two people can be good people, like, individually, but you can also, not be good for that person.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if you were to meet these gargoyles, you'd be like, yo, you would want to hang out with them. They are, like, just as women, they are incredible. They're incredible. But that's what it tells you. It's more to it than just the aesthetics, right? Where it's like, you can't have this weird checklist that's like, oh my gosh, she has she has at least 2 degrees. Okay, she has a fat ass. Okay, she's pretty. She doesn't mind eating kwanga. Like, there's more to it than that. What happens when things get hard? That's real character. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I don't care when you're making $100,000 a year. What happens when you get laid off? You know what I'm saying? That's real life. That's why when you see people now, when people are panicking with staying home, I'm like, wait, are your finances taken care of? Yeah. Okay, so what are you tripping about? We get a mini vacation. I know, look, I get it. It sucks to be at home. But, like, I cannot bitch and complain when I'm reading books on Congolese kids getting their arms cut off when they're trying to get rubber. What am I complaining about? So where's your perspective? You get what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm wearing the shirt. No, it's a whole thing. You know what I mean?
You're absolutely right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's when you figure out, like, who's there for me or whatever. And they were great women. They just weren't real.
They just weren't real. That goes back to the expectation, though. Like, you know how I was saying how social media has ruined things? Because people will look at this girl on Instagram and be like, well, she has a degree. She's nice. She's always doing this. She's always doing that. Why is she single? What's wrong with her? Whatever. You know, and it's like, you don't know how that person is beyond what they show you, right? And a relationship is getting beyond what they show you.
Right. And I think, and that's why, like, when people say, like, and it's, I'm not here to, like, I'm not gonna bash anybody, but it's like, you see girls that are, like, well educated, well put together, why are they single or whatever. There's a lot to do with, like, subculture or whatever, where a lot of men that are influenced by social media or influenced by what's, like, perpetuated of, like, being, like, this being promiscuous, they don't believe in, like, in marriage. They don't believe in, like, oh, I'm going to be with this one girl, and if she's cool, let's try to make it work or whatever. Like, that's not cool. That's not in vogue. You know what I'm saying? It's all, like, because, you know, we listen to the music. We see the media, how it's, like, perpetuated to us, how it's shown to us.
How do you fix that, though?
Families, because I can't control a corporation or a marketing corporation. It starts with families. When it goes from a family, then it goes into a community. When it comes to a community or a neighborhood, then it can go to a nation. You know, you have to start from the ground up.
Do you think we'll see that in our lifetime?
Yeah, because, like, once people, like, hit, like, in their late 20s and 30s or whatever, like, I've always been like this. I've always been, like, amongst my friends, I've always been like, oh, he's a nice guy. He doesn't, like, fuck around with other girls and stuff like that. Like, he doesn't, like, he has a girlfriend, he's, like, with her or whatever, right? First of all, because I'm terrified of disease. That's one. Like, so that's nothing to do with my morale. But
as you should be, as everybody.
Because HPV is real. But no, like, you'll see, like, I think, because once you start to find yourself after you figure out, like, okay, hey, I'm Congolese, I'm happy to be this or whatever, what is expected of my culture? And family's expected of it. Just like any other culture. I'm not just saying, like, oh, but we're Bantu Boyz, and you guys were Congolese. So once you realize that, you're like, yo, family's important, you'll start to change and alter yourself to be like, well, how can I be a better man? How can I be a better woman and stuff like that?
That's real.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious because family is important to the culture. Sometimes people got a lot of families. So
yeah, strong.
As a Congolese man, as a black man, how do you then try and, like, work against, I guess, that kind of stereotype or even sometimes an expectation? Because you'll have, like, the tontos who will be the ones who are the worst encouragers. Like, you don't just need your wife only. You can have your little cake on the side too.
I've always, that's a great question and hilarious. Okay. I've always been a proponent of you have to, it is much bigger than you. All right. Of course, you don't think I want to fucking Anita? You don't think I want to? You don't think I'm gonna fuck Rihanna? You think I don't want to? But if I have a girlfriend or a wife that I've been honest to, and if people have seen me around with, I'm not going to embarrass her and myself. Let me tell you what's like, as great of a feeling it is to have your cake and eat it too. I don't know what that means or whatever. To me, the worst feeling is people losing respect for me. That's like that holds higher weight than like, you know what I mean? Like, then, oh, he's touched 12 girls or whatever, right? I don't know, it's disrespect, and you just have a bigger expectation, like your mom, like, because, like, in our community, we act like people don't talk, people fucking talk. You know, you walk into the room and they just be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Look at them.
Look at them, you know? And plus, like, I don't know, I've never tried to be problematic, so that won't be hard for me. That's actually easy. No, I'm good. Because I've said that. No, I'm good.
Nah, I'm straight. I'm good.
No, I'm good.
It's just so interesting, though, because, I mean, you know, like, the draft just happened, right? And now, like, Russell Wilson.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
And how the fact so many people, like, label him to be being, you know, he's a simp, quote unquote, to a lot of guys. And I'm like, the man, he divorced his wife over allegedly her infidelity with somebody else, didn't make really a whole big deal about it. Right. And now it's just like trying to be a good man. You know, he's married, he's trying to take care of kids, do that whole thing. And so,
because unfortunately, in the American culture,
right,
we teach young black men it's okay to be promiscuous. Where, like today I was watching PBS, right? I love PBS. Like, cooking shows on Saturdays are incredible. You should see it. Like, these cooking shows are great, right? But in these cooking shows, right, every subculture, there was like Italian, Mexican, white Southern, white Northeastern. They all show the importance of family, and they subconsciously show you how a man is supposed to act. Like, he's there with the wife, blah, 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 this. Not our community. Not here in America. No way. Niggas got to get bitches. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. We got to get bitches. Think about this. If you were to hear a rapper talk about his wife in high regard. Think about if, like, NBA Youngboy was like, yo, I met this girl. We going to get married. We can have a... People would flip. Y'all should do the same thing, man. Get you a nice girl and blah, blah. Like, they'll be like, what? That's not cool.
I feel like we had that at one point, right? Like Boyz II Men, like...
Oh, yeah. Oh, they had to get... Look at this. Watch. Because you said Boyz II Men. That's interesting. Pay attention to music, black music in the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. R&B, gangster rap, conscious rap, pop rap, all these different genres, right? Then when 2000 hits with NSYNC, Eminem, George Bush gets into office, Christina Aguilera, NSYNC, the whole subculture changes. Everything. Once 2000 hits. It's a huge flip. There's a whole, like, articles written on that. But I digress.
But you know what? Back to that point about, like, you being a better person and not wanting to have your cake and eat it too. We had a conversation once. I'm trying to remember when we were talking about, this is going to get real, like, into the weeds, when we were talking about, like, genetics. Yeah. And it was like, when you stress a woman out, like, you're stressing out 3 generations of women, or what was it, like?
Two generations, because even, like, a little baby girl, the eggs in her body aren't developed, but they're there. And it's scientifically proven through epigenetics that, like, or in eugenics, that pain is transferable. So if I have this girl in front of me, and I'm like, man, this girl, you a bitch, you a hoe, blah, 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 this or that. She takes all that trauma and stress. It's transferred to 2 generations. That's why it's so important. You should always treat her with respect. But a lot of dudes don't grow up knowing that. Like, I'm responsible for 1 generation, right? I just give the sperm. You know what I'm saying? It's deeper than that. Like, our ancestors aren't crazy when they're like, if you're going to be with this girl, you have this dot, both families are apart, you guys going to have a good relationship. If there's a problem, come seek us. We can help you guys out. Like, it isn't, our ancestors aren't crazy.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? And we're all trying to go against it. And now look where we are.
Next question.
Go ahead, sorry.
Should you move in before marriage?
Clearly from my, I didn't listen.
Wait, let's vote. Who says yes?
Who says no? No, you should not know.
Okay. Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
No, let me tell you something. Just from my experience, I'm telling you, you cannot, because it's this gray area that shouldn't exist in a relationship. This person said, no, you probably have experience, huh? No, like, no. Because you can't, you'll have, she had husband expectations, and I was like, I'm your boyfriend. But then at times, I'd have wife expectations, and she's like, I'm just your girlfriend. Or, in Luco's words, she was my roommate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like, it's like, imagine you had a cow, right?
Oh, no, you know, you got to use a cow.
No, go ahead. I want to hear this.
You get all the, I'm going to use a milk example. You can milk the cow without owning it. So why do I then need to own the cow? Not that you own a woman, but like, why do I need to make an effort to tend to this cow, to shepherd this cow, to do all those things when like the cow's there, it's chilling on its own. I'll just milk it when I need from it, and then we're good.
I mean, you still want good quality milk though, right?
Right, you should want good quality milk. What are we looking at?
I'm sorry, what's happening? Hey, help.
The
Best of the Office, Series 1.
Wait, hold on. What happened? I'm right here. Wait, what happened? Oh, flip it. Okay, here it is. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, gosh.
Hey, and
we
the Office
just
is
learned
dope.
a lot about you.
Hey, the Office is dope. This is why I have a lot of issues, because I'll be watching stuff like that. No, but you're right. Like, you can't like. Don't deplete. Like, I'm telling you, you guys that are like, you have this girl that's great, and you're like, oh man, we're gonna get a place together, and I'm becoming a man. No, don't do it.
Marry her.
Like, cause you'll, like, for example, I don't know, the girl I was with for 3 years, living together, she couldn't cook, right? Couldn't cook. Like I cooked, right? And I was just, right. And look, let me tell you something. Like, complete hell, or whatever, right? Like, I mean, and this is just for me, like, she was American, so of course there was no, like, kwanga, no Congolese, there was, like, nothing, or whatever, but I was like, all right, I'm gonna have some chicken and stuff like, but I couldn't be mad at her for not cooking. She's like, she's not my wife.
Yeah. Wait, someone said milking's not only when moved in, though. You're right, but the intensity of the frequency and the intensity of how much you can cash out is way different. And it's not just like the obvious reference to what people are referencing it to. It's like, you want me to act like a wife without being your wife, right? Like, if you are working whatever and you have a demanding schedule, like, you're gonna expect to come home and like have some type of order, maybe have a meal, or you're gonna want, you're gonna put your laundry in the same basket as mine, and I'm washing your laundry now. Like, it's not just about that.
Yo, she never washed my clothes.
She wasn't your wife.
She was your roommate.
You just decided to cook for the house, but technically you should have been like, these are my Hot Pockets. You better go get your Hot Pockets, okay?
First of all, I don't.
We're not married.
My refrigerator doesn't have Hot Pockets, all right?
Okay, excuse me. I'm sorry. You should go to the farmer's market and buy your own fresh groceries and put them in a pan.
I'm more of a food for less guy, but I digress.
Oh, okay. I don't know. You seem above a Hot Pocket, so you go to Food for Less and you get your groceries, and I get my groceries, and we'll figure out a cooking schedule.
Yeah.
Hey, wait. First of all, before we go to the next question, I'm sick of these Congolese people judging me. I was young. I was trying to figure out some shit. All right, I was living my life. All right, I was living my life.
Don't let them judge you, because half of them might be doing the same thing, and it's not on Front Street.
Yeah, so why don't you think people should live together?
Wait, he said, did you divorce her after 3 years? Yeah, I sure did divorce her. Moment that lease was up,
the lease was their divorce.
I was out of there, boy. Out of there. Like, don't do it. But in all seriousness, looking back on it, it's like, okay, now I see why. I see why you take those proper steps. You know what I'm saying? No, please laugh. I love it. Please laugh. I love it. I'm not sensitive. But no, I understand why you take those proper steps, because I just only think about it. If we were married and we would have moved in, lived together, of course, after we were like man and wife or whatever, a lot of problems and issues that we have, we probably would never have had it. Because what comes with that title, in my opinion, of being like man and wife, respect, communication, like, oh, I have somebody down for me that's always there for me or whatever. Like, a little fun story, we're having issues like communication, and I was in grad school, and this girl texted me that had the same name as my ex, right? And she knew about my ex because when we first met, I was still talking to my ex. We were just friends or whatever, right? So she didn't sleep in the room. She slept in the living room. And I was like, oh, I'm going to work. So I went to work, and she got up, and she William Rudolph, Flojo, ran towards me at the door, and she was like, are you going to go see that bitch Jackie? And she look, let me tell you something. She fired on me. Boom, right? Like she fired on me. Like she socked me in my eye. I said, what are you talking about? I'm going to work. Right? I was like, hey, let's go get him a salad. What are you going to guy, right? Right? And right? And here's the thing, here's the funny thing. When she hit me, right, a single tear came out of this eye. Like just a single, I was just like, just a single tear, right? I was like, what the hell's happening, right? So I was going down, because we lived on the second floor. I'm going down the stairs, and she grabbed me by my chest, and she was like, talk to me. I was like, get your goddamn hands off of me, right? And I went to work, and I remember going to work, I was like, what the hell's happening? But it all stemmed from no communication, and I wasn't her husband. She shouldn't have punched me, but the sequence was hilarious, though. You should have seen it.
Don't put your hands on people. But to answer your question, I mean, you guys both have already talked about it. In that situation, it's really hard to create dating boundaries, right? So, if you're dating and you're courting and you live in your own place, it's hard to, figure out, is this a fight, legitimate to just us dating, or is this a fight to the fact that we're in proximity with each other every single day, right? And there's this whole thing of, people have these expectations of, especially if you're a woman, right? You kind of get into these gender roles where if you're dating somebody and you're living with them, it's of course you're going to cook, you're going to clean, you're going to do X, Y, and Z. So you're basically the starter wife, but you have no type of insurance that after 365 days of doing your stank laundry and cooking, I'm going to end up down the aisle. And he may very well leave you. And it's happened. I've had girlfriends who have been in this whole situation where they were the starter wife, and then dude ends up leaving and actually gets married to a real wife and didn't do the whole thing that they did with them. Bro. So now you have somebody that's I spent my whole time doing what I thought I was supposed to do, and you still ended up alone. So it's a lack of boundaries for me.
I just want to tell a story. I have a friend who was basically being a starter wife, put together a whole house, put together everything, they were living in a house, they were renting a house, but it was only her name on the lease. This dude woke up one day and was just like, I'm going back. He's Nigerian. He's like, I'm going back to Nigeria. And she was like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm leaving. And she's like, I mean, the lease isn't up yet. You can leave. What's the rush? She's like, no, I want to leave. That week, he came. He took everything. He took the rug that I don't know how he remembered all the stuff that he individually bought and put into his house. But anything that he bought, he took with him. He took half of the oil. She called and she was like, bruh, how did he, the oil. He took half of the oil that was in the house.
Do you know how expensive vegetable oil is?
Don't even do it. Don't even say it.
I feel so bad because, that's what you can't get back time. Hilarious story, by the way, because that's hilarious. The fact is, I'm just leaving. That's hilarious.
I'm going back.
You know what's funny? Because he wanted to leave 2 weeks before that, but when he said it, that's when that morning he gained the courage. He was like, all right, I'm going to do it he rehearsed it. He was like, all right, I'm going to tell her like this. When she walks in, all right, at 5, I'm tell her.
It was the night before in the mirror. He was
the craziest part is if you were going back, you're going to get on a plane. What do you need cooking oil for? Why did you have to take?
Being petty.
Because his real wife back home in his village needs cooking oil. That's why. Come on, man. Let me tell you something. I love us being African, but let me tell you something. Oh, there's a two side to us, boy. I'm trying to tell you. Back home, we're Congolese. We come out here, we tell the girls at the Savoy, I'm a prince back home. But no. Let me ask you this. All right. What's the most important? Oh, we did kind of say that. What's the most important quality in a relationship? Yeah, wait. Oh, no. If you have problems in your relationship, do you seek a counselor, or who do you seek?
Ooh. What step of the relationship?
Ooh, hey, pick if you want to. If you talk about marriage, you guys talk about marriage. I'll talk about dating, whatever. Well, just whatever you feel.
I've never been married, but I would assume if you're married, like it stays between you two. Even in dating, for the most part, you should try to keep anybody else out of your relationship because the second you bring a third person in there, it's like a problem. And then too, when you, like if I tell my sister a story, right? Like if I get in a fight with a significant other and I tell my sister a story, I might get over it because I love this person, right? Mm-hmm. She's not going to get over it because she loves me. She's on my side eternally. You know, so then every day she's going to be looking at this dude with like side eye. And then that just creates a weird dynamic. So
it's actually happened. But I will say, I mean, to kind of piggyback off of what she said, I have told my girlfriends, do not come to me. Like, if you need advice, I get that. But also in bringing your significant other, you have to understand, like, and I've told my friends, significant others, their boyfriends, I'm like, at the end of the day, my loyalty is to my girl. So I don't care about you, sir. My loyalty is her.
Yeah. So my best friend said to someone I was dating, she was like, I don't know about you, but I'll be at her wedding for sure. I don't know about you.
Yeah, basically. I mean, and men kind of get annoyed when girls, you know, when we are basically like linebackers for our girls. But I'm just like, if you don't want me to have the worst part of your partner, don't come to me with that because that's what sticks in my mind. And naturally, like you said, you want to protect the people that you love. So I've had to tell my friends, I'm like, I can't really, you know, when you're always coming with the negativity about your partner and these things, it becomes very hard to separate like what's the good in that person because now I only have a lasting impression of the things that aren't good about them. Now,
well said.
With family though, like
this comment. If we have a problem, talk to my mom. She will make sure that I am wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good mama. Hey. I would say though, with dating, I do talk to my like sisters and my cousins when I'm, you know, the ones, especially the ones that are married, to be like, hey, what do you think about this? Or like, I had a situation with a guy, and I asked like my brother-in-law about it just to kind of get a man's perspective. But this was more like in the very early stage of trying to figure out like what do these signs mean? What does all that look like?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I definitely think you need like a guidance at some point in everything that you do in life, right? It doesn't make sense to try to reinvent the wheel when someone has already done it, right? Like if I know someone's been in a relationship, they've been through this, I might come to you with like a scenario. That doesn't mean I'm going to lay all that person's business out on the table or my business out on the table, but I might come to you with like, hey, in this situation, like if you were facing this, what would you do? Not like every detail, every aspect of my life.
I do think, I mean, somebody here mentioned counseling. Yeah. So I remember, well, in my early 20s when I was dating my little college bae, and at the time I was like, we finna go walk down the aisle, okay? So I had told him, I was like, let's go to like pre-marriage counseling, and he was like, why would we do that? Why would we do that? But I was just like, you know, it's a good way to just see if what we're bringing to the table. Like we were all raised in different homes and households, and I felt like let's go to counseling and let's figure this out before we even walk down that aisle. Obviously that did not happen. Mm-hmm. But I do think that folks who are seriously like thinking about getting married once they're engaged should, you know, do marriage counseling.
Yeah. So Glody says, if anything, it should be a pastor for me. I agree. Once you're like at the stage of marriage and stuff, then yeah, it should be a pastor. But in the dating stage, if it's not something that's like y'all are about to kill each other, like that serious, like if it's like, he said this, should I be upset about this? Like I think I'm upset about it, but I don't know if I'm upset about it. You know, like every woman has that type of a situation. We go through that. We're like, am I crazy for feeling some type of way about this? When you just need like a second opinion, I think like your sister's okay.
Also, make sure if you're going to a pastor that your pastor has like legitimate like counseling certification, because there's a lot of people out here that just ordain themselves to be pastors without any counseling background. So just approach it.
We'll just tell her to cook. I'll make it better. Just tell her to cook.
It'll make it better. We'll be right back.
All right. So, how's she gonna be right back? All right.
Be right back. Can she not leave? But yeah, that's.
I think you should always seek counsel throughout. All right, whatever your choice was, a pastor, a therapist, because people change. Like if you're married to the same person mentally after like 20 years, that's a problem, right? You know what I'm saying? Or if you're dating,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? You should always seek like, hey, because the purpose is to like grow together, right? You know what I'm saying, right? Because people can grow. You can grow differently even though you're together. Maybe your desires change, things you like change, things you don't like change, or whatever. So you should always seek like counsel, or individually and collectively. But I think if you're at the stage of where you're dating and you're about to like, or we're engaged or whatever, you definitely got to see a therapist. You have to, because people think it's like, it's all like rainbows and like lollipops. It's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't the Cosbys, man. You don't get married and everything is sweet. It ain't. Like, you get a real hard, like, I'm just talking from my own experience, right? And people that I've seen. Like, I saw my father die of Lou Gehrig's disease and see my mom care for my dad like a child because of what the disease did to him. That's real life. You know what I'm saying? This whole, well, if we not going to the club we're not going on we're not traveling every 6 months, this ain't gonna work. I was like, what world are you living in? Like that, like, I don't know, like you gotta, I have a different type of expectation. That's why it's like, whatever you saw or how you grew up, your background is gonna be a huge indication of what your expectations are as an adult or whatever. So it's like, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's like, hey, when you're when you deal with not pain, but what's the word? The junior mints is buffering my brain. Hold on. I lost my train of thought. All right.
No, but I was gonna.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, in terms of like the foundation and what you have, like that's really important. And if it seems like you have a more like holistic understanding of what marriage is, and I think it was Ladi who posted something on her page or the Congo Millennial page where she was saying, why don't relationships last? And I think it's because we don't have a holistic view of what marriage is anymore. Like,
we think it's for the pictures. We think it's for IG.
Yeah, like it's just like we only see one segment of marriage and what's been publicized being the cool part of marriage, and we forget like the 75% that's left of whatever else is there.
So I just want to address, somebody asked here in the comments if I was like referring to, I guess, married people getting counseling. So yes, I think people should do like their premarital counseling, but something that I also am a strong like fan of, and I've been trying to tell people, and maybe we could have another session on this, is like people going to individual therapy.
Oh, that's real.
And doing individual counseling as well. As much as we like to be like, we're resilient and we don't have any problems, there are a lot of things that when I started going to therapy and I started talking about like my romantic side within therapy, there are a lot of things that I realized from just growing up, from how I was raised, from my cultural expectations, and like, why? Oh, that's probably why it didn't last with the menses. That right there.
And like point blank, like as a Congolese person, like being an immigrant is a traumatic experience. Like point.
What does that mean? And where did you get that name?
Okay. When I was growing up in Kinshasa,